Okay, now that was the service principle. And what happens in regeneration, we have actually 4 cycles of operation on this softener. Most softeners have 3 cycles of operation. The first cycle gets started when we start a regeneration either manually by pushing and holding the regen key for a minimum of 3 or 4 seconds to start it. Okay, but the first cycle of operation is called the backwash cycle. The water from the upper header goes down to the number 4 valve, which is controlling the rate because this is a rate adjustable backwash valve. If this is too open, it'll throw the resin out of the tank. If it's too low, then we won't get rid of broken beads over a period of time that have to go to the drain to get rid of. So the water comes down into the number 4 and goes into the lower header. Lower header consists of a stainless header to a machine lateral that has 16 1-inch slotted pipe laterals. It's bedded down with gravel and sand to keep 2 things. Keep the resin up above the working lateral, but also protect the laterals from any kind of movement, hydraulic movement. Have too much hydraulic movement, you get some air in, sometimes you can crack a lateral. How long does that happen? The backwash goes down and up, comes through the number 3 valve, gets open, comes off to your common drain and goes to the drain. Normally that's a 10-minute cycle. 10 minutes is usually the proper amount. After that 10-minute cycle is performed, the automatic controller moves the rotary valve and it goes to the next step, which we call our brine and slow rinse cycle. So what happens here is on the raw water header, goes through a stainless steel isolation valve and through an very important T. This is called our ejector. It decreases the velocity, it holds a vacuum on the suction side of the T, and that's how at the brine tank we can pull our liquid and mix it with our dilution water before she goes up and over the top through the number 5 valve, into the softener, and down through the resin to displace all the hardness that's been ion exchanged on the resin bead. How long does that take? Normally on a pressurized brine system, you'll have a brine tank, you'll have a brine well, and you'll have an adjustable float. Usually on startup, we set the float to the proper amount to accept the proper amount of brine for the right amount of resin that we have in this tank. Smaller tanks use less brine, larger tanks use more brine. Normally 25 minutes would be long enough to suck the proper level in the brine tank and satisfy the brine float control where we have an air check in the bottom. Usually 25 minutes. Now, programming wise, we may have 59 or 60 minutes in our cycle 2, but we don't care because we brine it down at the proper rate, we brine it over the proper amount of time, and now once that air check falls down, we are now considered being slow rinse. No more brine can be pulled, so just dilution water now is traveling through the ejector up into the top of the tank to slowly displace all the concentrated brine that we had previously put in there. It's a slow process. We don't want to move it too quickly. Concentrated brine displaces the calcium, magnesium hardness to the drain. So again, the total amount of time in this particular cycle was say 59 minutes. It took 25 minutes to satisfy the float, about almost 34 minutes to satisfy the slow rinse. And at that particular step, the controller, when it times out on its 59 minutes, moves one more position in the rotary valve. It goes to cycle number 3. And on a pressurized brine system, we only program 1 minute in that cycle. To complete cycle 2 and cycle 3 would be a total of 60 minutes. That is your brine and slow rinse cycle. After that 60 minutes total, cycle 2 plus cycle 3, the rotary valve through the controller will move one more position. And now we're in our last step of regeneration, which is what we call fast rinse. Fast rinse is important. Why? Because the nozzle flow through this slow rinse mechanism here is a very small amount of water, maybe 5, 6, 7 gallon a minute, some 80 gallon a minute, something like that. But we know that because salt is denser than water, that there's a good probability that there's still a lot of concentrated salt down in the gravel bedding area. So we go into what's called a fast flush or a fast rinse. That's called our cycle 4. What happens here is, control indexes. Now we open up the large service valve for higher flow rates to the drain. Number 1 service valve opens up. Everybody else is closed, but the number 6 valve, which lets the water go into the drain. You notice it also has an adjustable bonnet on end. Okay, under 100% conditions, our drain is breathing properly. We have a big enough drain. That adjustable bolt is fully open. Why? Because we want high flow. We want to get as much flow through that 1.5-inch valve to the drain as we can to do what? Repack the resin tighter with higher flows and get rid of any latent salt that's in the bottom of the softener, in the gravel, and the sand area. And that completes the regeneration schedule. Hopefully at the end of that 10 minutes in our fast rinse cycle, we'll have absolutely soft water before the controller steps us into a standby position. So it's been regenerated, it's backwash, it's brine, it's slow rinse, it's fast rinse, and it's going to be ready to go when the number 2 softener winds down to 0 and uses all its soft water and says it's time to regenerate automatically.